Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Nick here, back again with a brand new video today. So if you guys paid any attention to the channel recently, you guys know that I recently did a spoiler-free review on the new MCU movie, The Marvels. If you saw my review for that movie, you know that I did really like the movie. I had a lot of fun with it, and there were some things that I was going to discuss in a spoiler review, which we are about to do now. And I'm also going to touch on things I really liked about the movie, so I'm going to talk about spoiler scenes in the movie that I'm like, okay, this I really liked. I will also touch on some flaws in the movie using spoilers that I didn't want to touch on in that review because spoilers, but you know. This is going to be a very interesting spoiler review because, like, if you're expecting me to just, like, trash on this movie, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm just going to talk about various spoiler plot points in the movie. I'll talk about the stuff I really loved, talk about the stuff I wasn't as crazy about, and still kind of, like, give you my overall thoughts on how I feel about the movie as a whole with spoiler context, if that makes any sense. So I got, like, I got 3 pages of Google Docs bullet points or whatever. I'm not gonna like spend too much time trying to elaborate on everything. I just have like really like short bullet points. I'm trying to like, okay, I'll try and like get through this as quickly as I can with enough detail because I don't want to go like on and on and on and on about so many things. And I got it split up in a few different like categories. So hopefully this video doesn't take too long. I'll try to make it as concise and like neatly organized as I can. So starting off at the beginning of the movie, I have underneath the category as Dar-Benn's plot. We have Captain Marvel is responsible for Hala's destruction when she's destroyed the Supreme Intelligence in the first movie, and it causes Dar-Benn to seek the Quantum Band to get resources for Hala. I have written like in parentheses like this is a good plot point for the movie, and it really is. However, I wish they did more with it, and I have with various bullet points. I think Dar-Benn needed to be in the movie more. I did say in my spoiler-free review, Dar-Benn's not a great villain. There's great concept with Dar-Benn, but we barely see her at all. And there's also some like more problems with her that I'm going to discuss with spoilers. So I put that she needed to be fleshed out more because she really was not in the movie a whole lot. But they tried to explain a whole lot of it using flashbacks, which I kind of get why they would do that because you don't want to convolute the story. But I feel like it almost feels like there's missing pieces of information there that it's just like using flashbacks is a bit of a cop-out, if you know what I mean. And I put that like it feels like there's a whole lot of information missing on Dar-Benn's plot because I think the concepts and the sequences of like them ripping open the holes to get resources from the planets are really cool. But the thing is that on our time at Hala, the planet didn't seem all that bad, and this was 30 years, mind you, that like Hala got destroyed. So the Hala as a planet didn't seem all that bad. It just seemed kind of like dark or whatever. And so I think they needed to elaborate more on how long the planet has been in ruins for and how much time the planet has had left. Because, like, I'm not a scientist, and this is a sci-fi movie, so I'm not expecting this to be, like, super realistic or grounded in reality or anything like that. But there needs to be some plausibility of, like, okay, how long does this planet have before it runs out of its resources? Because, like, if this planet can go on for 30 years between the first Captain Marvel and the Marvels and still, like, be okay to where they can still survive, it's like, okay, I feel like they need to elaborate a little bit more and fill in those gaps on how much longer they have and how long it's been in ruins for, you know? There's just a little bit, it's like, on paper this isn't a bad idea, there's just some explanations that need to be made. And I have, like, as my last bullet point here is that Infinity War kind of executed this a lot better with the Infinity Stones. And what I mean by that is that in Infinity War, you got a whole bunch of different things going on. Like, very much like with Dar-Benn, she's going to different planets to get different resources. We do very similar stuff in Avengers Infinity War. We're going to different places to get the Infinity Stones. But the reason it works so much better there is because, one, they actually, like, fill in those gaps. There's a lot more, like, logic there. But also, like, they really emphasize on why the stones are important, and they emphasize on how much time they have left. But there's also, like, one goal here, to stop Thanos from getting all the Infinity Stones. And the plot for, like, Dar-Benn getting all the resources from the planet, it's like they didn't elaborate much on how bad the planet really is. And I also kind of feel like this plot line, along with like a whole bunch of other plot lines mixed into one thing, does feel a bit jumbled at times. But that's kind of like my main complaint with the plot is that it's on paper not a bad plot. They just need to explain more with it. But then we're going to get to some of the more fun stuff here. So I got the teleportation and team building stuff in its own separate category. After Dar-Benn gets the Quantum Band, she tears open that jump point. And we see Carol's on the planet where she got the Quantum Band from. Rambo touches the jump point, and all of a sudden our 3 leads start teleporting. And we see Kamala flying in space. And I have it written as bullet points. There's a lot of fun action sequences. I thought the opening, like, 15-20 minutes of this movie was just a total blast. Mainly, I loved the space stuff. I thought it was really cool to see all the different, like, choreography in space and the whole, like, defying gravity and all that. I loved Kamala's fish out of water comedy here. And her whole fish out of water reactions. Because like I thought it was like funny how all of a sudden she was in the room and then she's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and like when she's in space, when she's Nick Fury, she's like, oh, it's Nick Fury, and she's all like fangirling over the whole thing. It was just very funny stuff. So I love Kamala's whole fish out of water reaction. I also think Kamala's family's reaction to like all the switching happening, like, wait, what is so crazy. And I also like seeing Carol be confused as to why she's in a little girl's bedroom, and seeing Monica be confused and learning how to use her powers. That was all really fun. And actually seeing Monica learn how to use her powers was also pretty fun, because she had to like learn how to fly up and save Kamala when she was falling out of the sky or whatever. It was kind of silly and kind of funny, but I thought it was a fun scene regardless. And I also thought it was funny how Kamala was also fangirling over Carol being her house, like, Captain Marvel was here? And that was fun. And more on the teleporting stuff, I actually liked seeing the characters use their teleportation powers. I'll touch on a little bit more in a little bit. And also that was cool how during them learning to use their teleportation powers, Kamala was fangirling over the idea of them being a team. That's one of the big things I liked about Kamala in this movie, was seeing her fangirl over being part of this team. It's just, I don't know, it's just like, it was silly, but it was also like sweet and cute, and it's like, aw, like, and if you saw the Miss Marvel show like I did, it's like, it's very sweet how she went from being this fan to working with them, and like you can see how passionate she is. Yeah, the training montage of them learning how to use their powers on the ship was really fun. I really enjoyed them learning how to use their stuff. It was cool to see Monica learn how to use her powers, because she's only had her powers for such limited time and she hasn't learned how to use them yet, so it's cool to see the three of them try and work together and stuff. And yeah, the training montage of the ship was fun. There were some inconsistencies though with the like teleportation stuff, because, well, at least I think there were, because whenever they got to the water planet Aladna, which I'll touch on more on that in a bit, they still somehow managed to screw it up a couple times, where I'm just like, wait, I thought you guys established that you know how to use it by now, because like they have to use all three of them have to use their powers to switch. So I've written as my last bullet point, I'm not sure if the characters just needed more training, because they've only known each other for so long, but it was just weird to have them do all that training of swapping to where it's like, okay, they seem like they know what they're doing, to them, wait, they're still messing it up a couple times. So maybe that's just me, like, being like, okay, wait, I thought you guys knew it by now, but I don't know, it's just, it was really fun stuff. There's a couple moments where I'm like, okay, I thought you knew how to do this by now, but, you know, I still had a lot of fun with the whole teleportation idea. Alright, now we're getting into the topic called planet stuff. So, as I said, I kind of wish that they really hammered home the problem with Dar-Benn's planet. That was something I wish they, you know, like, really delivered on more. But talking about Tarnax, or the air planet, it has me a little bit complexed, because I liked the characters having challenges while working together, as this is, like, the Marvel's first mission together. I liked the whole scene with Carol and Kamala having the differing opinions on how to save the Skrulls. But this is also hugely confusing for Secret Invasion, so I'm going to touch a little bit on minor spoilers from Secret Invasion. If you want to skip ahead, I might leave a timestamp or something, I don't know. The whole plot for Secret Invasion is that the Skrulls don't have a planet. But apparently there's Skrulls living on Tarnax, and this is taking place after Secret Invasion, mind you. So I feel like there's more missing information here, and I was like, maybe the reason that the Skrulls have to go to Earth in Secret Invasion is because there might be overpopulation on Tarnax that's just not talked about. Or maybe there was a secret invasion of the Skrulls to Tarnax that went untalked, which I don't know how that would have happened, but whatever. And so I said that this could be a result of too many projects being produced at the same time, because there are ways you can explain how the Skrulls got there when they have to go here. It's just that it's messy. So it's like, okay, I feel like there's missing information here. It's like, on paper, these are not bad ideas, but again, I feel like there's like missing pieces of a puzzle that ties the logic together. So I do have like some complications with that. And the Valkyrie cameo was cool, you know, and like I thought seeing Valkyrie in the movie was really cool. I like Valkyrie, and I've written as a bullet point why it does and doesn't work. The thing I mean with where it does and doesn't work, and I'm going to elaborate more on this a little bit later about how I feel like they could have fixed it, but the reason I feel like it doesn't work, or it does work, is because Valkyrie is taking them to a new place. So it's like, okay, Valkyrie can provide them a new home. The problem is, though, is that it's open season on Skrulls in the United States of America because of what happened in Secret Invasion. So I'm kind of like mad confused about that, because it's like, okay, the U.S. is not a safe place for them to go to. And everything to myself in the theater, I was like, aren't they like, oh, isn't it open season on Skrulls over there? But at the same time, if Valkyrie takes them to New Asgard, they might be safer there because that's like a more private area. But even then, it's kind of just like, I feel like there's missing information here, but I don't know. And then going to the stuff with Aladna, which was the water planet, or the singing planet. So I actually enjoyed the singing stuff. I thought it was like, it was silly, but I found it to be a tasteful kind of silly. I mean, I understand why it's not for everyone. It is like pretty easy to poke fun at, especially if you're not a musical person. I have an important bullet point here. I am a child of two parents who do music for a living, and so I am a child of musical parents, and I grew up watching musicals and stuff, so for me, this isn't anything like super weird, but if you're not into musicals, I can see why it wouldn't work for you, or because it does feel a little bit like out of left field, I can see why it wouldn't work for you, but I personally thought it was alright. But the thing I thought was really cool though about Aladdin is I thought the costumes and the makeup for like the citizens on this planet were actually really interesting and well done. And actually, I especially thought that the dress that Carol wore looked very like aesthetically pleasing. I'm not necessarily one to pay attention to dresses. I'm not like a fashion expert or whatever, but I just thought it was a very like visually aesthetically pleasing looking dress. I don't know. It's just I thought that the costume designers did a good job as well as the makeup artists. I also I thought the whole "we need to talk" thing was funny with Prince Yan. It was just like because they have serious stuff like okay like they're gonna come steal your water so we got to talk about this, but it was kind of just a nice comic relief to break the ice because it's like we need to talk because they're married. And that's the other thing I want to touch on. I like the fact that I like the idea of Carol being married to Prince Yan on this planet. And it does seem silly, and it is silly, but I like it because it actually shows what real life would be like if you were capable of traveling to different planets with different governments. It's like Captain Marvel can be unmarried on Earth because what happens on this planet is irrelevant to what happens on Earth. But it just goes to show you, like, someone, if they could travel to another planet, they might be married to someone on that planet and be totally single down here. I don't know, it's just an interesting concept. I'm like, huh, stuff you never think about. You never think about interplanetary politics unless it's like a Star Wars movie. I don't know, it's like, it's definitely an acquired taste, but I dug it. And also the action sequences on Aladdin were pretty cool too. So going to stuff with Kamala's family. I know Kamala's family is a huge enjoyment of the movie. I really enjoyed Kamala's family in the movie. I liked them in the Miss Marvel show. They were a lot of fun in the movie. I'm going to go through why I loved them, but why I also had a couple issues with them. Because I loved their reaction to Carol showing up at the house. That was a lot of fun. And I also thought, like, the scenes at the Khan's house in general were really fun. There were some things about it that were a bit odd, though, because, like, the scene where Carol and Monica meet for the first time in, like, 30 years was a bit strange. I'll elaborate on that more later. That was kind of like an odd thing. That was the first thing in the movie I was like, that's a bit strange, but I'll touch on that more in a bit. And also the family meeting Nick Fury and Monica, that was fun because it was cool to see Nick Fury be like, we need to talk to Kamala Khan or whatever. It did lack some logic, though, because how did they get there that quickly? They were just up in space, and somehow they're, like, now down here, like, in a span of that. That's, like, another thing about this movie that's a little bit frustrating is that, like, these, like, plot points, like, jumping from here to here to here, very well paced, because, like, it's, like, we're constantly cutting to stuff, but it does also beg questions, wait, how did they get there this quickly, or, like, wouldn't they have had to have gone through here, where it's, like, it feels like there's maybe something, like, a little piece of something missing there. I mean, I'm not, like, one to go super crazy into, like, logical inconsistencies or whatever, but it's just the thing where it's, like, there are moments in this movie where I'm like, they could have tightened that up a little bit neater, had they maybe just put, like, a tiny little explanation, or had they maybe just put, like, a tiny little extra scene in there, or something, I don't know, but I digress. And the other thing that I kind of, like, but also have a little bit of, like, frustration with is the stuff with Kamala's family going to Saber was tons of fun, but it did lack some logic, because Nick Fury told Kamala that Saber is a top secret organization, and he still takes Kamala's family there. Now, I think that the subtext was trying to imply that Kamala's family needed to know where Kamala was at all times, which does make sense, but they never really, like, talk that way, where it's like, had there been just a little moment of dialogue that, like, Kamala can do this mission on the one condition that we go up into this thing that you just said was top secret to make sure she's okay. You know, it's like, they just added that one little thing, it would have made more sense. Also, like, the plot for them to evacuate the space station was messy. Now, I think it's implied that the space station was getting ready to collapse because of, like, the hold that Dar-Benn did, but it's just, like, it's not smoothly explained. It's like, okay, it's like the subtext tells me that that's how this happened, but they never smoothly explain it, so it's like, I think I know what you're doing, but I'm not, like, 100% certain. I kind of just wish they would have, like, done just, like, a little bit more of, oh, the hole's the reason we gotta leave, you know? Just, like, a tiny little thing that would have been nice. Yeah, I did love the bit with the Flurkins, though. And with the song Memory playing and, like, the Flurkins were eating up the people. Me and my family and everyone in my theater was laughing out loud during that scene. We loved that scene a lot. Like, I know some people probably were, like, upset by the cat stuff. I thought the cat bit was tasteful. It just needed a better setup, if you know what I mean. I also think that the movies, and, like, this is the other thing that's about the space station stuff that's a little bit weird, because they never say in the movie why Kamala's family needs to go up there, or why Nick Fury would let them violate the privacy of Saber, although the subtext, I think, implies what I explained earlier. Because it doesn't smoothly explain that, it makes it feel like a side quest of cat stuff for a comedic bit. It's like, on paper, it's like, okay, yeah, this does make sense, kind of, but like you kind of need to just explain it a little bit more, put in like a tiny little fill in the gap that makes it feel like it's not so much of a side quest. And on the bit with the side quest, I think that this movie would have actually benefited from having the Tarnak scrolls go to Saber. That way the whole space station side quest is more like neatly tied into the main plot. And it also would have allowed Nick Fury to like have the opportunity to contact Valkyrie to send the scrolls to New Asgard. Because I think it would have made more sense. It's like, okay, scrolls can't go to the Earth because US has declared open season on scrolls. So instead, let's take the scrolls to Saber, and then, oh crap, Saber's about to collapse. Okay, let's put the scrolls and everybody inside the Flurkins. We'll get down to Earth, and then Nick Fury could contact Valkyrie to go hide them in New Asgard. Had it flowed like that, as opposed to them just like going back and forth, that would have made a lot more like coherent, logical sense, and it wouldn't have felt so side questy. It would have felt more like neatly tightened up. So it's okay. Like the individual scenes I like, I just wish that they were tied together more neatly, if you know what I mean. And the last bit I'm going to go into is the spoilers regarding the characters. So Nick Fury's scenes in the movie are tons of fun, but they do mess with the Secret Invasion continuity a little bit, because if you guys have seen Secret Invasion, you know that Nick Fury goes through a whole lot of messy crap in that show, and so to see him just like get over it that quickly here is like, okay, I feel like, I mean, it could have also just been the fact that like the whole situation of the movie is so insane that Nick Fury has no choice to laugh about it, but still, kind of thing where it's like, how did Nick Fury go from being like torn apart here to being all like funny and charming here? I mean, maybe Nick Fury's just using comedy to help with his grief, but it's also just like, this could have been like transitioned a little bit smoother. And this is what I want to talk about with Carol and Monica meeting up again. It felt awkward at first because I was like, why are they not more excited to see each other? But then they kind of explained it later on. It's like, oh, okay, like with the conflict going on between them, because I understand the conflict, but it could have been fleshed out better because it's revealed through the flashbacks that when Carol left to be Captain Marvel, she did come back when Monica blipped away because her mother, Maria Rambeau, sadly died of cancer. That made me really sad, actually. That was a more emotional moment in the movie. And then we saw Monica getting mad at that about, like, how, you know, like you left and, like, when I was gone, you came back to see my mom. And then when I arrived, my mom was dead, but you weren't there. So, but then the truth comes out later that Carol realized how heartbreaking it would be for Monica to meet the Annihilator, because she did annihilate Dar-Benn's planet, and so she decided not to return until she made things right. And I mean, Carol could have just not told Monica about the whole thing and still been her hero, because, like, Monica doesn't have to know that Carol did that, because Carol didn't mean for that to happen, but I guess Carol probably would have thought it felt inauthentic as a hero. Again, it's like subtext can make it make sense, but it's just like, it's not neatly tied together. But I digress. And then also Monica being mad does and doesn't make sense, because on the one hand, I get why Monica was upset about the fact that she never came back to see her after her mom died, because Carol went on to be Captain Marvel when Monica just needed Carol, and said Carol was Captain Marvel. You know, it's like, I needed Carol when you decided to be Captain Marvel. So that makes sense, but it's also a little bit nonsensical at the same time, because I'm reading in my notes, I'm sorry. Monica's holding Carol to a promise that Carol made her when she was a little kid that happened over the course of a few days. In Captain Marvel, she meets with the Rambos for like a few days, and she leaves, and she tells little Monica, I'll come back when the time's right. So I get why Monica would be upset about her not fulfilling the promise, but also Monica's an adult now, so I feel like she also needs to be more like accepting of the fact that the world's not as simple as she thought it was when she was a kid. And it's kind of weird because Monica's a very level-headed adult, as explained in WandaVision, so it's kind of weird that she would hold Carol to this very weird thing. It's like, okay, on paper, again, this all makes sense, it just needs to be neatly tied together more. But outside of that inconsistency, I thought Monica did have a pretty good arc in the movie. Like I said, it was cool to see Monica learn how to use her powers. I honestly would have liked to have seen more of that. As she said in the movie, I've done a lot of stuff in the last few days I didn't previously know how to do. And I thought that the sacrifice that Monica made to close the hole that Dar-Benn made to connect the sun to their planet actually got me a little bit emotional. I do wish they would have explained a little bit more about how she was able to close the hole, because Monica's just barely learning how to use her powers, so it would have been nice for Monica to like kind of explain more, okay, I can do this to do this, as opposed to just her going up and doing it. There are some like, they could have flowed that a little bit better, but the overall scene and what they were going for, I really dig. I did get a little bit emotional during it. And I also thought it was really sweet to see Carol finally be like the hero that Monica needs and try to save up and save her. And then it was a great moment, although also seeing Kamala save Carol with like her hand was really sweet. But I also feel like Kamala could have also done that to try and save Monica, unless I'm missing something, which I might be missing something. But it's like, you know, it's like, okay, if she did that to save Carol, couldn't she have also stretched out a little bit more to save Monica? But maybe I'm just stretching out a little bit too far. I don't know. Because it's just that thing where it's like, they could have gone for a little something there. But maybe I'm not thinking straight. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. But yeah. Also, the final fight before the scene was awesome. And like, even though Dar-Benn's not a great villain, the action sequences with Dar-Benn were actually a lot of fun. Like some cool visual and stuff. It was cool to see the three of them fly at her at once. I wish that Dar-Benn would have been defeated more creatively, because like they used like the light or whatever to destroy her. I wish it was more creative than that. It was just like a very cool fight. Just the final part of it, I was like, could have been a little bit more creative. But the first like 95% of the fight, totally awesome. I also wish the movie explained more about how they got to the ship so quickly, because they got from whatever the water plant's name was, I somehow forgot, all the way to this ship she's on, without somehow having to fight off her army, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's kind of, it feels like a missing piece. Like, okay, just like from the spaceship to Kamala's house, water planet to spaceship, there's got to be something in the middle of scene there, because like the transitions, okay, I understand that you want to keep the pacing there, and I totally get it, but it's also the thing where it's like, how would they have gotten there so quickly without fighting people off? It's, just, again, not a bad story, there just needs to be a slightly more cohesive flow to how they got there. Seeing Carol restore the sun to save Hala was really cool, but again, I don't understand how all the problems are now all of a sudden solved on Hala, because she restores the sun, Hala's okay now, and like the air was, but it's a little bit, I feel like I'm missing something, because the air was stolen successfully from Tarnax, the water was not successfully stolen from the water planet, so it's like, how much water it begs the question, how much water does Hala have left? And again, it's that thing where it's like, I feel like how they spent more time explaining the state of Hala instead of, okay, Hala's screwed up, we gotta save it. Again, just like missing details. And I feel like more details would have helped flesh that out a lot better. However, getting away from some of the more negative stuff, leading towards the positive stuff, I did like that Kamala was the one to deliver the news to Nick Fury that Monica's gone, just because Nick Fury and Monica have like a strong connection there. And Kamala was really into the idea of them being a team, so to have Kamala... I know they've only known each other for so long in the movie, but to have Kamala actually be like, I made a really good friend over these last few days, and now we don't have her anymore. I thought it was sweet to see Kamala be the one to deliver that news. I don't know, it's just like, aw, that's a sweet moment. Here's what I really loved about the movie, was we see Nick Fury talking to Kamala about recruiting her and stuff, and all of a sudden we go to this place where I'm like, wait, this place, I know this place seems familiar. And we see the dog, and I was like, wait, and the door opens, and Kate Bishop from Hawkeye shows up. If you guys saw my review for Hawkeye, you know that I adored that show. And I loved Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. So see Kate Bishop come up, I was like, yo, it's Kate Bishop! That was like one of my favorite moments in the movie. And so her cameo was awesome, but I also loved seeing Kamala being like, Kate Bishop, like, we got an initiative we need to talk about, or whatever what she says, and I was like, yo, this is a throwback to the first Iron Man movie. The post-credit scene in the first Iron Man movie where Nick Fury is like, Tony Stark, we got something we got to talk about. And it's just like, yo, it's like, because that was what they did to build up the Avengers. So to see Kamala go to Kate Bishop for this, and she also referenced Cassie Lang, it's like, yo, they're teasing some Young Avengers stuff. I was like, yo, this is so cool. That made my day. That final little bit in the movie, I already really enjoyed the movie, but that final bit, I was like, yo, that made my day. Freaking awesome. So, the journey was definitely messy. There's some things where it's like, okay, this on paper makes a lot of sense on paper. There's a great story. It's just neatly ties stuff together a little bit more, but that ending was really sweet. And I know which spoiler y'all really want to hear about was post-credit scene. I was relieved in the post-credit scene that Monica was alive, and she was in a new universe now because she crossed over through the hole. And at first I was like, okay, this place seems a little bit familiar. She saw Maria, her mom, but it's not actually her mom, it's a variant of her mom, and she's apparently binary, and I was like, I don't know who binary is, but the fact that Maria Rambeau, this is interesting about Maria Rambeau, because she was Carol's partner, whatever it was, in the Air Force on this Earth. She went on to be Captain Marvel in a different universe, in Multiverse of Madness, and in this universe she's binary, but we all see that binary is not just a superhero, she's an X-Men. Because the doctor operating on Monica is Beast, voiced by Kelsey Grammer. I saw that and I was like, yo! I heard the voice like, is that who I think that is? And then I saw Beast and I was like, we're doing this! We're doing this! Like, we're actually crossing over to the X-Men stuff. Now, I know some people were complaining about the Beast CGI. I get that a little bit, but it's overhated. Come on, the Beast CGI, way better than the She-Hulk CGI. Come on! I mean, you can complain about the CGI all you want. I understand that, like, the guy didn't sit in the chair to do the makeup, but it would have also been weird to sit in the chair and do all that hours of makeup just for a little, like, 2-minute scene. But whatever. It's like, regardless, I was happy to see Beast, and it's like, yo, we're crossing over into stuff. And the fact that, like, we're talking about mutants and stuff, because it makes sense that if Monica were to have her powers that she does and cross over into this other universe where they're categorized as mutants, she would be taken to Xavier's school. So to have this whole X-Men thing, it's like, yo, I mean, I know it is like a very like off-kilter scene to the movie, but it's just like, this is so cool. So I left the theater very happy with that. So those spoilers out the way. I talked about all the spoilers I liked, all the spoilers I didn't like. I was like, okay, I liked this stuff with this characters. I liked the concept, I liked the scene, but they could have executed this a little bit better. You know, I've talked about what I do and don't like about this movie, and so what are my final thoughts on the movie? Even though there are a lot of definitely missing puzzle pieces that the movie feels like it should have, I still really dug the Marvels because the great scenes in the movie and all the great moments really are great moments that I feel like people need to give more credit to. And I just want to say, if you didn't like the movie because you felt that like it wasn't your kind of movie, it wasn't your kind of vibe, or because like the story didn't flow as cohesively as it could have, I understand that, and that's totally fine. All I ask is that if you're going to have a negative opinion of this movie, that's totally fine. Just don't be toxic about it. And also, don't go like crapping on other people who are enjoying the movie. So if you want to leave a comment down below letting me know why you didn't care for the movie, that's fine. Just be polite about it. Don't be toxic, and don't trash on me or anybody else who likes the movie. And if you guys agree with me, and you guys agree that like the movie has some logical inconsistencies, but you still through and through enjoyed the movie, let me know how you feel about that down in the comments below. I would love to hear your guys' opinion. If you also want to know how I feel about the movie just as a whole, without spoilers, you can go check out my spoiler-free review, as I do touch on some stuff in that's not really as touched on in here. I think that's going to be it for the video today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. I also ask that you click on the links in the description. Go follow me on my Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, as I'm starting to post a lot more stuff over there. I'm starting to stream on Twitch quite a bit, so go follow me on Twitch if you haven't. I really like to see you guys pop up in the stream. Thank you guys so much as always for watching. I really appreciate all the support. If you want to support the channel, make sure that you hit the like button as it really helps out. Feel free to subscribe and click the notification bell to get notified about latest videos. And that's been it. Peace!